In the dense heart of an ancient forest, a gurukul stood quietly among towering trees, its wooden halls filled with the echoes of learning and laughter. This was no ordinary place. It was a haven where knowledge blossomed and character was forged. Students from distant lands came here, leaving behind their families and comforts, drawn by the wisdom of a revered master who treated every student as his own. In this sacred space, children were not judged by their wealth or background. They all sat on the same ground, learned the same verses, practiced the same lessons. The master was patient, compassionate, and believed that every child could rise, until one day something unusual happened. That morning, the class was deep in study, the chants of ancient scriptures weaving through the warm forest air. The master's eyes moved across his disciples, watching their lips move in unison. But then his gaze stopped. One boy sat with his brow furrowed, lips unmoving, eyes distant. It was clear, he was lost. The master approached and calmly repeated the lesson, slowing down, explaining again. But the boy remained confused, unable to grasp the words. The master tried once more, then again. But nothing changed. A flicker of frustration appeared on the master's face. His tone hardened, and in a moment that no one saw coming, he snapped. "Show me your palm," the master demanded. Silently, the boy stretched out his hand. The master, well versed in palmistry, examined it closely. His expression darkened. "There is no line of education in your hand," he declared. "You are not meant for studies. Return to your home. Do some other work. Live your life another way. Don't waste your time here." The boy stared in disbelief. His chest tightened, but he didn't argue. Instead, he reached into the small pouch tied around his waist and pulled out a small, sharp knife, the same one he used to carve wood for chores. Without hesitation, he dragged the blade across his palm, carving a deep line where there was none. Blood trickled down his hand, but his voice was steady. "Master," he said, holding out his bleeding hand, "I've made a line of education. Will you teach me now?" The silence was deafening. The master's eyes filled with tears, his stern expression melting into awe. He pulled the boy into a firm embrace. In that moment, something profound shifted, not just in the boy's fate, but in the hearts of everyone who witnessed it. The master's voice trembled. "Son, no power in this world can stop a person who is determined. You've just proven that even the lines of fate can be redrawn with courage and will. From today, you will study, not because your hand says so, but because your heart demands it." That boy didn't just stay in the gurukul, he excelled. He studied harder than anyone. Years passed, and he became known across the land, not as the boy with no fate, but as the legendary Maharishi Panini. He would go on to write one of the most extraordinary grammar texts in human history, the Ashtadhyayi. What's remarkable is not just that the Ashtadhyayi remains unmatched in its depth and structure even today, centuries later. It's that it was born from a moment of rejection, a moment that could have ended a dream before it began. But Panini refused to surrender to the invisible boundaries of fate. He didn't let someone else's interpretation of his palm define the limits of his mind. Imagine if he had walked away that day, believing those words. The world would have lost a towering intellect. Language itself would have missed one of its brightest lights. So when people say fate has already written their story, that destiny has closed all doors, they forget that stories like Panini's exist. They forget that hard work has a voice louder than fortune. That grit is more powerful than any prophecy. How many times have you felt like giving up because someone told you that you're not cut out for it? How often have you looked at the lines on your hand or the limitations in your life and thought, maybe this is all I'll ever be? But that's just fear pretending to be truth. That's just doubt wearing the mask of destiny. If lines on a palm were enough to determine success, the world would never see rebels, inventors, dreamers who rose from nothing. Greatness isn't born from perfect circumstances. It's born from the decision to keep moving when the world says stop. There will always be people who read your lines and judge your path. But their eyes cannot see your fire. Their words cannot measure your will. Only you can carve that path, sometimes with a pen, sometimes with effort, and sometimes, as Panini showed us, even with blood and courage. So the next time failure knocks at your door, don't ask the stars why. Don't curse your fate or wait for signs. Roll up your sleeves, take that metaphorical knife and carve your own line. A line that says, here stands someone who refused to be ordinary. Because destiny doesn't choose you. You choose it. And when you do, with all your heart, no force in this world, not even fate, can stop you. Because in the end, it's not the lines on your palm that shape your future. It's the strength in your heart, the fire in your will, and the courage to keep going when everything tells you to quit. Every great name etched in history began with someone who dared to believe in themselves more than in fate. So if you're standing at the edge of doubt, wondering whether to keep going, remember this: your future isn't written in your hands, it's written in your effort, and the pen has always been in yours.